Hi, my name is Mrs. Nolan, and I am here introducing myself to you because I'm going to be supporting your student in math specifically. I am here to scaffold and to provide that support in order to help them be as successful as they can in math. And so I'm very excited to get to work with your student, and we are going to talk about what we need to work on specifically this week. So this is our instructional plan. This kind of indicates where they're at on this benchmark and how we can use those results and this data in order to make a plan moving forward. So because of the scores of your student, we are going to plan to work on some of these focus skills. And the one that I really want to work on is repeated in a couple of different categories here, and it is this rounding the numbers within 1 million. Rounding is a tricky skill, and it's something that they work on earlier in school, but sometimes if it doesn't stick, then it gets harder and harder to build on as we go throughout school. And so I really want to make sure that your student has a strong sense of rounding in order to master that skill and to move on into more complex things. So we are going to be working specifically with a standard, this fourth grade standard right here, which is estimating products of multiplication problems using various strategies. But the strategies that we are going to be focusing on this week is rounding. So we have a plan for that. We have 3 days of instruction. We've got 2 online days and 1 in-person day for this particular skill. And so on Monday, when we are learning online, we're going to be just hitting the ground running with the basics of rounding and making sure that that skill is really firm and that we have that building block to move forward. So we are going to review what rounding means, how to round, what to look for in order to round numbers up or down. We're going to be focusing a lot on place value in order to help us round. We will also be getting some movement in. We'll be going up if we need to round up. We'll be going down if we need to round down. And when we get our bodies moving and involved in our learning, it's really going to help make those connections in our brain even stronger. So I plan to use a lot of movement and a lot of hands-on things in order to have these skills stick with your student. So we'll formally assess this day. We'll do kind of a pre-assessment to see where your student is at and how we can best move forward throughout the week. On Wednesday, we will do an in-person instruction, and we will just briefly review rounding, and then we will practice estimating with rounding. So with this fourth grade standard, the rounding turns into, oh, I also need to estimate on top of that. And so that's why, like I said earlier, we have to have that building block of rounding. So we will round numbers in a multiplication problem. We'll round those factors. And then based on that, we are going to estimate what the product or what the answer is going to be. And so that is going to help us get a general idea of what answer we should be getting when we do an actual multiplication problem. This skill in fourth grade wants us to see if the answers that we're getting and the estimations that we're making are reasonable, if they are close together, if they make sense, and if they match in some way. And so that's what we're working towards. On this day, I'm not going to formally assess. I will just informally assess. I will watch your student answer these problems and work through these various activities in order to see if they are progressing in this skill. We'll be using magnetic tiles and whiteboards in order to get those hands-on movements, and we'll still be doing the up and down, the rounding, maybe a thumbs up to round up, thumbs down to round down, things like that, to really make those connections strong in their brains. On Friday is when it all comes together. We are going to start with just a little online math platform game. We're going to review a little bit of what we've learned all week, and then we are going to put it into that fourth grade standard practice. And so we are going to round, we're going to estimate that product, and then we're going to compare it to the actual answer to see if that is reasonable, to see if that estimation is reasonable, and to see if it's close to the actual product. And so by the time we get to Friday, the student will be able to see how they can use the skill in real life, how they can use rounding, estimation, and seeing if something's reasonable. So they should be able to do that by the end of the week. And I really hope to see your student progress a lot through the week, and I'm excited to work with them.